get low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Brian Giles with Brian Giles MTG. And we're here with the start of the official spoiler review of Assassin's Creed. Now, I covered some of these cards in the super drop that I had a little earlier in the year when they had the first reveal of this and other sets. So, first up, we have Conspiracy. So it's 2 black and 3 for an enchantment that reads, enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control are the chosen type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So tribal is going to be very big, especially with assassins and also with knights. So it's You need something that really cares about tribal cards. And, this will work well in other sets, especially with the upcoming Bloomburrow, which cares very much about tribal. Next up, we have Spear of Leonidas, a legendary artifact equipment for a red and 2. You get an equipped creature attacks, choose 1. You got Bull Rush, it gains double strike till end of turn. Summon, create Phobos, a 3/2 legendary red horse creature token. Revelation, discard 2 cards and draw 2 cards, and you equip it for 2. Now, this one of the themes of this is going to be a Boros theme type to this set, and this goes very well into that. But it also pairs very well into other Boros sets, especially ones that focus around equipment, because you create Phobos. It'll fit also very well in a deck based around Shadowfax out of Lord of the Rings. So think about that when building your decks. Next up, we have a card that pairs with the Spear of Leonidas in Cassandra Eaglebearer. So a red, a white, and 1 for a 2/2 legendary human assassin warrior with haste. When Cassandra enters the battlefield, search your graveyard, hand, and library for a card named Spear of Leonidas, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Whenever a creature you control with legendary equipment attached to it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And again, with the idea of legendary equipment being a thing, a card that you might want to look into acquiring for this kind of set as a boost is Spear of not Spear of Leonidas, but Eater of Virtue, which pairs very well and is a legendary equipment. So hoo-ha. Next up, we have one of the, kind of antagonists in the set in Shay Cormac. Now, Shay Cormac is for a white and a black for a 1/1 legendary human knight rogue. So knights are kind of like the Knights Templar are the antagonists to the Guild of Assassins. So for a generic, permanent your opponent's control lose hexproof, indestructible protection, shroud, and ward till end of turn. Youch! Whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes the target of a spell or ability you control, put a bounty counter on that creature. Whenever a creature with a bounty counter on it dies, put 2+1/+1 counters on Sheik Hormak. Now he pairs very well with the guy from Ikoria that puts bounty counters on stuff. So hoo-ha! Next up we have Yggdrasil Renewal Engine. So 3 mana for a legendary artifact. When it enters the battlefield, exile all creature cards from your graveyard. You can tap it to exile the top 3 cards of your library, or pay 4, tap it, and put a creature card exiled by it onto the battlefield under your control. Gains haste till end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So this something you can think about to get around graveyard hate. You can protect all your creatures in your graveyard and bring them back for 4 mana. Run onto the battlefield and they gain haste. So, hoo-ha. That's a pretty good win. Next up, we have Oddwally, Breaker of Chains. He's from the Black Flag Assassin's Creed game. So it's a blue, black, and 1 for a 4/1 human assassin pirate. Enters the battlefield, reveal the top 6 cards of your library. Put an assassin, pirate, or vehicle card from among them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Whenever vehicle you control deals combat damage to a player, may return and wildlife from graveyard to your hand. So, we're going to see, because we have the pirates, the Black Flag, we're going to see ships. You're going to see named ships. We're probably going to see some, maybe, chariots, wagons. Because wagons were a big thing, We already talked about, jumping into into the hay bales and everything to hide from your enemies and whatnot. So we're gonna see that. So there's gonna be vehicles that are gonna be play into this game, and they'll be revealed later. Ships and wagons and chariots and stuff like that. So, hoo-ha. Next up we have Roshan, Hidden Magister. So, he's a black and 3 for a 4/4 legendary human assassin. Other creatures you control are assassins, in addition to other types. Same is true for creature spells you control. Creature cards are on the battlefield. Face down creatures you control have menace. So yes, there's going to be stuff and that's not surprising to have face down stuff. Whenever permanent you control is turned up face up, you can draw a card and lose a life. So you get a little bit of card draw with that, So it cares about face down creatures and it's like a conspiracy for 1 less mana, basically. Cathartic Reunion, a nice reprint for this set. A red 1 sorcery that reads: the additional cost to cast the spell, discard 2 cards, and you draw 3 cards. Next up, we have Edward Kenway, which is a blue, a black, and a red, and 2 for a 5/5 human assassin pirate. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each tapped assassin, pirate, and or vehicle you control. Whatever vehicle you control deals combat damage to a player. The top card of the player's library, exile it face down. Play that card for as long as it remains exiled. So you get a treasure. You get treasures, so you can cast the creatures that you exile face down with, and yeah, he's useful. Very commander focused because everything's commander now. Now, I cannot pronounce this guy's name for the life of me. So, Ratan Haketan, please excuse me if I butcher the name because I do not know how to pronounce that properly. So, this dude is a white, a blue, and a black for a 3/3 legendary human assassin. As long as he hasn't dealt damage yet, has hexproof and can't be blocked. When he deals combat damage to a player, create a 1/1 black assassin creature token with menace. And when you do, turn your target equipment card from your graveyard to the battlefield and attach it to that token. So, yeah, this fits very well into kind of equipment-focused decks. There's an Urza deck, I think, that's in this colors that this might fit well in. There's a commander deck. Next up we have Bayek of Siwa. So it's a red, a white, and 3 for a 3/4 legendary human assassin with double strike. As long as it's your turn, other historic creatures you control have double strike. And you can reveal it for a disguise of a red, white, and 1. So you can play it face down for 3, and it's this 2/2 creature with ward 2, and it has you can reveal it for the red, white, and 1. Maybe a little bit of mana fixing there, get him out kind of early. He pairs very well with Blade Historian out of Strixhaven. So there's that. Next up is Lydia Fry. So it's a hybrid blue, black, and 2 for a 3/2 legendary human assassin. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. Gain your end step, surveil X, where X is the number of tapped assassins you control. So this is another thing that really cares about how many assassins you have and creating little assassin tokens. So hoo-ha. Next up we have Ezio Brash Novice. So this is the young version of Ezio, a lot how they did with young Urza and young Mishra from Brothers War. So a hybrid red, white, and 1 for a 1/1 legendary human. Whenever he attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on him. As long as it has 2 or more counters on it, he has first strike and is assassin in addition to its other types. So next up we have Brotherhood Headquarters. So this is kind of like the one of the lands, the land fixing for this. So it's a land. You tap it to add a colorless, or tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Spend it only to cast an assassin spell, or a spell that has free running, or to activate an ability of an assassin source. So we will explain what free running is in a later thing, but it's definitely something that's useful. So next up we have Evier Wolfkiss. Now this is a card that pairs well with the Kaldheim cards and sagas. Because any of these cards that come from Assassin's Creed, like Valhalla, will pair well with the Kaldheim cards, especially the sagas and stuff. So red, green, white, and 3 for a 7/6 legendary human assassin warrior with trample and haste. For 6 mana, that's not so bad. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may mill that many cards, put a saga card and or a land card from among them onto the battlefield. So hoo-ha. You can... And it pairs well with the guy from Lord of the Rings that cares about sagas. Next up is another card that pairs well with it, and I think this is, again, going to be part of a commander deck. So this is going to be the backup commander, and Sigurd, Jarl of Ravensthorpe, red, green, white, for a 3/3 legendary human warrior with vigilance, trample, and lifelink. It has boast, and where do we see that? But in Kaldheim. Boast for 1, put a lore counter on target saga control, or remove 1 from it. So whenever you put a lore counter on a saga control, put a +1/+1 counter on it for 1 other target creature. I can think of a lot of things that this could be just absolutely crazy with. Next up, we have Socrates, Athenian teacher. So this is one of the historic figures that's going to be in the game, and they're going to these are going to be the serialized cards, and when they're in their serialized versions, they will be in double rainbow foil, and their text will be in the language that these historic figures originate from. So Socrates will be in Greek. So he's going to be a white, a blue, and 1 for a 0/4 legendary human advisor with defender. He has hexproof as long as he's untapped. And you can tap him until end of turn, target creature gains. This creature will deal combat damage to a player. Prevent that damage, that creature's controller, and that player draw half that many cards rounded down. I can think of uses for him in especially if you combine him in a deck that includes black and Sheoldred. Yeah. You're going to have all sorts of fun with this guy. And again, this creature and those that were previewed earlier, like Leonardo da Vinci and Cleopatra, will all be serialized. Cleopatra will be in Egyptian. Leonardo will be in Italian. Whoops. So Next up, we have one of the antagonists of the game, and Haytham Kenway. So the antagonists to the assassins are the Knights Templar, and so a white, a blue, and 2 for a 3/3 human knight with legendary human knight with protection from assassins. Other knights you control get +2/+2 and have protection from assassins. When he enters the battlefield, for each opponent, exile up to one target creature that opponent controls until he leaves the battlefield. So he's so he can exile some stuff, and he's a Night Lord, which you find very much in the Azorius colors, and there's lots of night love. You can find that not only that, but also in Lord of the Rings, which has a lot of night love in it too. So this guy could be interesting as a knight commander. So that's going to be all for right now. Well, I'm gonna showcase one more card because it pairs well with it, and this is the Templar Knight, which is a white and 1 for a 3/1 human knight with vigilance. Pay a white and tap 5 untapped attacking creatures you control named Templar Knight. Search your library for a legendary artifact card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. And deck can have any number of cards named Templar Knight. So kind of like some of the other cards, the rats and the Nazgul and the dwarves. Then you can have more than the standard 4 in your deck. It also pairs very well with artifact decks as well as knight decks. So consider that when making your build. We're at 22 minutes. We've got to end this video, otherwise I'm going to be stupid and not pay attention to the time again. So hoo-ha, we'll see you on the next video.